Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Hi, it's Monday, which means I have some ghost stories for you that you have so kindly sent me here to this email address. You can send me yours if you have any ghost stories, weird stories, experiences that are just a little bit creepy. It doesn't always have to be ghosts, people are scary too, and go ahead and send them right here. You can send it just as an email, a video of yourself talking, or an audio recording. Completely up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. Hi, I'm just jumping in here really quickly to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, and that is Redecor. Available on Android and iOS for free. I'll leave a link for you to download it below in the description box. So Redecor allows you to redecorate photorealistic rooms and create completely unique designs to you in the game, or from your mobile phone. Now listen. I've played this game a lot. I absolutely love it. The personalization that you get to do when you're decorating these rooms, the choices, the briefs, it's like you feel like an interior designer for a few minutes, you know? And it's so unique. The photorealistic rooms give the game this touch of realism. There's other like kind of games that's all very cartoony, but I love the aspect of it feeling real, like you've really decorated something. The materials, the fabrics, the woods all look extremely real, and it just adds like a really incredible touch to your designs. And as I mentioned as well, there's like a brief, and you know, the people want like a certain kind of wood, or they want a certain kind of fabrics, and you kind of get to piece together all these different aspects of design. And sometimes I look at the room, I'm like, that's what I want in my house. And you know, I like a good relaxing game. The whole thing is very calming. There's no rush, there's no panic, but there is the option sometimes to kind of go head to head with another designer, and you get to see the rooms that they designed as well. And sometimes they're not so good. Like this example, like red walls and blue finishes in the bathroom. I mean, that would have been fine in the early 90s, but come on, it's a different time. No wonder poor grandmother here was upset. So if you're a new user to this game, you do a short tutorial first, very quick, very easy, but it just sets you up so you know how to use the game. And the level that I want to share with you today is Monica's living room. Yes. So have you ever looked at that living room, that purple wall? Now listen, I love purple, but all over. And thought, oh, I could redesign that. And listen, it could do with an upgrade, right? It could do with like, yes, it's iconic, but let's update it. Come on, this is New York. We need to sell this apartment. So I decided to kind of keep it as, well, not 90s at all, but I noticed in Friends, they have like this mismatch of materials and textures. So I thought, let me keep that in, but let me brighten it up a little bit. It's too dark, too dingy. So I made this wall like a blue, and then put that iconic purple back in, just on the windows and the doors. And I thought, let me lighten up the rugs and the sofas, add some random textures and patterns in, because it's that kind of like what's called like boho chic that was popular in the 90s, right? But then I was like, everything looks too bright and everything looks like it's like falling into each other. So I put this deeper charcoal carpet in, and it kind of separated it up a little bit. So I thought, like the Friend's house, flat, apartment, depending where you are, but modern. Every design you create is up against somebody else from all over the world. So sometimes where did I come in once? I thought I did this really nice room, and I didn't score very high. I thought I did so well. And then sometimes I did amazingly well. So it was good. But you know what? It just kind of helps you get a little bit more, you know, noticing what people like and what other people don't like in your designs. And you learn a little bit about design and what people appreciate and what they don't. So listen, let's get designing. Let's redecorate Monica's living room with some new fabrics, some new like textures. There's even like you get to choose the textures of like the vases and the tables and the floors and the curtains. Loads of high quality finishes. So if you are up for the challenge, then go ahead and download Redecor. It's available on Android and iOS for free, so go ahead and download it. Honestly, you're gonna love it. If you're into artistic things like makeup, like interior design, like design in general, you're gonna absolutely love this game like I do. So thanks again to Redecor for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so, it is so hot. I can't be bothered to do this up. It is so hot here in England today. I'm sweating. And yes, I'm wearing a button-up shirt, but it's fine. It's thin, so we're good. But the lights. ugh. So if I gradually start to melt away, then do forgive me. Do forgive me. So today, I don't really have a theme, if I'm honest with you, but I might just carry on with last time we had it was like casket friendly makeup, so I did something quite dark, and I think I want to do something nice and bright and colourful. And I was very kindly gifted the Life's a Drag Facelift palette by Luna Beauty. I had the original Life's a Drag, so I am just going to use this. Look at all those colours. You can see how dirty my desk is. Don't even look. Yes, let's dive into this. This looks fun. Let's get, I have nothing else to say. I despise this weather so much. I can't wait for winter. I know it's far away, but come on. Okay, so let's get right into it. Our first story today is called The Girl in the Closet. No, why is it always got to be children? So it starts. Hi Robert, I love your videos and I look forward to ghost stories and makeup. I have a story about my sister. I hope you enjoy it. Yes, I will. When I was 7, my sister was 5. We had moved into a new house with our mum and our aunt. Apparently, there were 2 women in their 20s who had lived in the house before us, who were murdered in the bathroom. We didn't have a lot of money, and the house seemed nice enough, so of course my mum took it. My sister was always a pretty peculiar child. I remember she was always staring off into space. She liked to be alone, and we would always find her talking to herself. This is where it starts. As if she was having a conversation with someone, yet she never mentioned having any imaginary friends. My sister and I shared a bedroom. For a while, there was nothing out of the ordinary. However, one night, I woke up to our closet door being cracked open. I looked at my sister, and she was wide awake, sitting on the edge of a bed. I said, Danielle, what are you doing? Lay down. My sister turned to me, quietly, and said, but the girl in a closet won't stop staring at me. I screamed. I jumped out of bed and grabbed my sister by the arm and ran into my mum's room crying. Yeah, I would be too. My sister, however, remained calm the entire time, as I was hysterically crying. I told my mum what my sister had said, and my mother was just as terrified as I was. The next morning, my mum asked Danielle about it, and she was completely clueless. Time went on and I would walk into our room, and I would find my sister sitting in front of a closet, whispering, and as soon as I came into the room, she would stop. As we got older, we moved into an apartment with our mum. I was 16, Danielle was 14. We still shared a bedroom, and the first night we spent in our room, I was woke up to my sister screaming my name. She was in a corner, on her bed, crying. My sister never cried and she was never scared of anything. My sister pointed to the closet door, cracked open, and whispered, somebody is in the closet. Of course, we ran into my mother's room crying, and of course nobody was inside the closet, but I never understood why that happened to my sister, especially why it happened twice. Doors, cracked open doors, windows with little gaps in, anything like that is too scary. Thank you so much for your story. Listen, I have a question for everyone. Would you rather be haunted by a child ghost or a ghost in their 20s? I would rather be haunted by a ghost in their 20s. A child ghost scares me more. For some reason, the idea scares me more. Okay, we have an audio story next. You can send your videos, your stories to me as audio as well. I really appreciate the audios because it gives me a second to do stuff. So let's go. This is called My First Attempt at Witchcraft.
Hi, Robert. I want to tell you a story about my first experience with witchcraft. Now, to preface, I just want to say that I have very long natural nails because that will come into play in the story. Now, my first experience, I was trying to put out a protection spell for the BLM protesters because this was over the course of the summer when things were really reaching its peak for that movement. And since we're in the middle of a pandemic and I personally did not feel safe going to protest, I thought I would do what I could from the comfort of my own home. Now, I cast a spell. I thought I had done everything correctly, but I unfortunately was living in a toxic environment at the time, and I didn't take that into account when I was casting my spell. So I did everything. I drew a sigil. I put that piece of paper with the sigil on my windowsill so it would be out in the moonlight. And I went to bed. Now, in the middle of the night, I wake up and I have this really intense pain in my finger. So I take my hand out from underneath my pillow, because I sleep with my hands under my head, under my pillow. And lo and behold, the nail on my ring finger has somehow, in the middle of the night, in my sleep, been ripped backwards, right down to the skin. So I actually had part of my nail bed showing, and it was bleeding a little bit, and really, really hurt. And my nails aren't extremely strong, but they're strong enough that I don't understand how I could have possibly torn a nail in my sleep. Other than my nail being torn, the piece of paper that I had put on my windowsill to be in the moonlight was also on the floor. So it seems to me like my first attempt at any sort of magic, especially protection magic, backfired awfully. And I was in pain for a few days. I couldn't really use that finger because there was just live skin showing, and it really hurt. It took a very long time to grow my nail back too. But yeah, I guess I learned my lesson there, to be really careful where I cast my magic and what kind of environments I'm in. Anyway, I thought you might enjoy this story. It's a little spooky, a little weird. And I'd just like to close this by thanking you for teaching me so much about makeup. You've been a real lifesaver. I feel like I have a much better understanding of how to place product on my face in a way that suits me now, which is something that I haven't learned from anybody else. So thank you kindly, and happy Monday.
Thank you, and happy Monday. Thank you so much. That really does mean a lot to me. That is, listen, nail injuries. Ooh. Nail injuries make me feel a certain way. I just can't stand them. What a strange situation. It's almost like something was like, no, I'm not going to allow you to do this. Almost like some kind of asshole spirit. Like, why would they bend your nail back? Can't they just scratch you a little bit or something rather than ripping off your whole nail? That is painful. That's intense. I would love to know as well. Tell me, did you ever as a child with your friends try a spell or anything like that? I would love to know how it went. Did something happen? Did something strange happen? Thank you so much for your story. That was absolutely perfect. And now we have, as custom, so I can get on with this, Marcus, reading us 2 stories.
This first story is called The Drinking Spirit. Hi Robert, I love your videos and can't get enough of them. Your humour is so quirky and sassy, I love it. I'm from Manitoba, Canada. I'm from a Cree First Nation and 24 years old. In my culture, we believe that many things have spirits, like drinking alcohol, suicide and anger, that follow people when they get into trouble, are stressed, not taking care of themselves, or at just a real weak point in their lives. When I was 16, me and my cousin of the same age were really close. I would spend every day at her house. She had a sister that was 3 years older than her, that was into rebellious teenager things like drinking, smoking and doing drugs. Anyway, one weekend, her sister came home from an evening of drinking and things. Her room was in the basement, while the younger sister's room was upstairs. The older sister went downstairs to her room, put on some music, then called her friend. She sat on her bed and chatted with her friend, when suddenly her sister came into her room covered in a black sheet. And we often did stupid things like this, so it wasn't far off for the younger sister to try and scare the older sister. The older sister continued talking on the phone, saying things to her friend like, "My sister's being annoying, trying to scare me." She chatted with her friend for almost 10 minutes, while her younger sister sat at the end of the bed, not saying a word. She started to get creeped out at this point, and started to yell at her younger sister to cut it out. Suddenly, the younger sister stood up and fell into the floor and vanished. The older sister, still a bit drunk, thought maybe she was seeing things and ran up the stairs. When she threw open the door, her younger sister was in her room playing on the computer. She immediately started crying and freaking out. The younger sister was so confused and asked what had happened. They immediately went to their parents' room and woke them up. Their father was a spiritual man, so he woke up immediately and smudged the house. He also made the older sister throw out any drugs and alcohol she had on her. He prepared a small meal, went outside by a tree, and offered it to the drinking spirit that had followed the older sister home, and asked it to leave. That night the father had a dream of an angry man that wanted to get back into the house but couldn't, so went away. After that happened, the older sister stopped her drinking and drugging and cleaned herself up. Excuse me, Robert, I've just eaten grapes and my whole throat is really stuck together. This story is called The Grinning Patient. Hi Robert, I love your videos, especially the spooky ones. So this story is actually my mum's, which makes it even scarier, as she would never make something up. She has been working as an NHS nurse for around 23 years, but this happened to her a year ago during a night shift. She always hates working nights, not just because of how tiring it is, but because of the things that lurk in the hospital wards. She was on her break one night and had fallen asleep on the sofa bed in the staff room. The room was dark but light enough to see objects. She had woken up from her nap, and as her eyes adjusted to the eerie room, she could make out a woman sat on a chair only a few feet away from her. Freaking out, she said, "What are you doing in here?" She had locked the door behind her so she wouldn't get disturbed. The woman had a massive grin on her face, with big eyes that never moved. Although she was quite young and beautiful, my mum knew straight away she wasn't amongst the living. My mum said she tried to make out what she was wearing, and sure enough, it was patient robes that looked dirty and old. As my mum started to get up from the bed, the woman's face started to change. Her mouth slowly created an O shape, but her jaw and chin kept growing and growing until her jaw had completely dislocated, but she clearly felt no pain and just gradually started fading into the background. My mum ran out of the room. I could see how uncomfortable she was when she was telling me this story. I could even see the goosebumps on her arm. I now 100% believe in ghosts. Well, Robert, see you next 2 weeks' time on Makeup Does Robert for your Monday story Ghost Spookies.
Listen, thank you, Marcus. I might have to cut out you screaming at the end there. People listen to this to be calm in bed. Okay, let's have another story. This is called The Elevator Ghost. Hi, Robert. I'm somewhat of a skeptic, so I didn't think I'd be doing this, but after hearing the story about the djinn from Turkey, I felt the urge to write as soon as I was done with the video. Also, I really like your videos, especially this particular series. Thank you so much. Thank you. This is a story about a couple of experiences my uncle had about 5 to 6 years ago. When he moved to America, he only decided to share it with his family after he returned to Pakistan. Not long after moving, he decided on becoming a paperboy because he thought it would make him some extra cash and it would help him learn about the routes in the new town he was in. That's very clever. Everything went smoothly, for the most part, but he always had an eerie feeling about this one apartment building he'd go to deliver the papers. One morning, around 3 or 4 a.m, he got out of this building, and as he was walking towards his car, he saw a woman dressed in white with hair covering her face, standing a few yards away. He caught a glimpse of her feet. Not only were they bare, they were facing the wrong direction. He rushed towards his car and drove off. The next incident was when he was in an elevator, when a woman entered with him. He said that he didn't really notice her at first, as if she wasn't really there, but then this woman started banging her head on the elevator wall to the point where she began to bleed. Again, my uncle looked down at her feet and they were facing the wrong way. My uncle rushed out of the elevator and the building and he quit the job the very next day. Yeah, fuck that. These stories about the jinns and their feet, they're slightly like inhuman, what's the word? Feet. Are really, really creepy because it's like, what are they trying to prove with their backwards feet? You know, okay, your feet are backwards. Now what do I do? Like, what do I do? Okay, so this is our finished casket ready look. I kind of gone ahead and actually done a little bit of a Pride look, which is great. So there you go. Happy Pride Month. You're about to see this look on 20 million other people this month. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any stories you want to share with me, you can go ahead and send them to this email address here. If you see any like spooky things on TikTok, go ahead and at me. It's RobertWLSH MUA. Follow me there also. Thank you so much again for joining me. I will see you very